Imagine building a billion-dollar company without investors, without funding, without even a real product, just an idea and a desperate need to make rent. This is the story of how Airbnb started with almost $0 and turned into one of the biggest companies in the world. Welcome to Money Mysteries. It all began in 2007, in the city of San Francisco. Two designers, Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, were struggling to pay their rent. They had recently moved into an apartment, but they didn't have enough money to cover the cost. At the same time, a major design conference was coming to the city. Hotels were fully booked, prices were skyrocketing, and visitors had nowhere to stay. That's when they had a simple idea. What if they could rent out space in their apartment? Not rooms, just air mattresses on the floor. They bought a few air beds, set up a basic website, and called it Air Bed and Breakfast. Their offer was simple: a place to sleep, plus breakfast in the morning. 3 people signed up, and just like that, they made their first money. It wasn't a huge amount, but it proved something important. People were willing to pay to stay in a stranger's home. But turning that idea into a real business was much harder. At first, almost no one took them seriously. Investors didn't understand the concept. Why would anyone stay in a stranger's house? Why not just book a hotel? Even worse, they were running out of money. Again. So they had to get creative. Instead of giving up, they came up with one of the most unusual startup strategies ever: cereal. During the 2008 U.S. election, they created limited edition cereal boxes called Obama O's and Captain McCain's. They designed the packaging themselves, bought cheap cereal, and sold the boxes as novelty items. It worked. They made around $30,000. And that money helped keep the company alive. More importantly, it caught attention. Investors began to notice their creativity and determination. Eventually, they got accepted into a startup accelerator called Y Combinator. This was a turning point. They received a small amount of funding, mentorship, and guidance on how to grow their business. But even then, growth was slow. People still didn't trust the idea. So the founders did something most entrepreneurs wouldn't do. They went door to door, meeting hosts in person, taking professional photos of their apartments, helping them create better listings. They manually improved the platform, one user at a time, because they understood something important. If people trusted the platform, they would use it. But there was another hidden problem. Even when people were interested, the website wasn't perfect. Listings looked unprofessional. Photos were low quality. Descriptions were unclear. So the founders went even deeper. They personally stayed up late nights redesigning the website, improving the user experience, making the booking process as simple as possible. Because they realized something critical. Trust online is everything. If the platform looked unreliable, people wouldn't use it. So they focused on small details, and those small improvements created big results. And slowly, it started to work. More hosts joined, more guests booked stays. The idea that once seemed strange started to make sense. Then came the breakthrough. Airbnb expanded beyond air mattresses. People began listing spare rooms, entire apartments, even luxury homes. The platform grew rapidly. Travelers loved the lower prices. Hosts loved the extra income. It was a win-win, and the timing was perfect. During the global financial crisis, people were looking for ways to make extra money. Airbnb gave them exactly that. But growth created new challenges. As the platform expanded, cities started paying attention. Governments questioned whether Airbnb should be regulated. Hotels saw it as competition. Some even tried to shut it down. There were legal battles, restrictions, and public criticism. But instead of stopping, Airbnb adapted. They worked with cities, created clearer policies, and continued improving safety features. Safety became a major focus Because trusting a stranger's home isn't easy. So Airbnb introduced reviews, host verification, secure payment systems, customer support. These systems helped build confidence, and confidence brought more users. Another key moment in Airbnb's growth was storytelling. Instead of just being a booking platform, Airbnb started marketing experiences. Travelers weren't just booking a place to stay, they were booking unique experiences, living like a local, exploring new cultures. This emotional connection made the platform even more powerful. Over time, Airbnb expanded worldwide, from a small apartment in San Francisco to millions of listings across the globe. Today, people can book everything from a single room to entire villas to unique stays like tree houses and castles. The company is now worth tens of billions of dollars. But what makes this story so powerful is how it started. With almost nothing. No money, no connections, just an idea and the willingness to act on it. So what can you learn from this? First, start with what you have. You don't need millions to build something valuable. Second, solve real problems. Airbnb worked because it solved two problems at once. Travelers needed affordable places to stay, and people needed extra income. Third, be creative. When they ran out of money, they didn't quit. They found a way to survive. Fourth, focus on trust. Because in any online business, trust is everything. And finally, take action. Because ideas don't build businesses. Execution does. Airbnb didn't start as a billion-dollar company. It started with air mattresses on a floor, and a simple idea that most people ignored. But the founders believed in it. They pushed through rejection. They adapted, they kept going, and in the end, they built one of the biggest platforms in the world, all starting from zero. Because sometimes, the biggest companies don't start with millions of dollars. They start with a problem, a simple idea, and the courage to try. And that's another mystery of money. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Money Mysteries for more stories about billion-dollar companies, startup success, and the secrets behind how big ideas become massive empires.